The deepfake panic is a psyop, and you fell for it. Let me explain who benefits. Right now, in June 2025, every major AI company is shipping video generation tools at breakneck speed. Google just rolled vids into Workspace for all enterprise tiers. OpenAI embedded native video generation directly into ChatGPT. Runway dropped Gen 4 with temporal coherence that makes last year look like a flipbook. And while they ship these tools to millions of paying customers, the entire regulatory conversation is still stuck on one narrow problem. Someone might put a politician's face on a fake video. That framing is not accidental. It appears to be a deliberate misdirection. The face swap deepfake is the boogeyman big tech wants you fixated on because it is a solvable problem. Watermarking, C2PA metadata, detection classifiers. These companies can point to a scary face swap, roll out a technical countermeasure, hold a press conference, and look responsible. Meanwhile, the real threat walks right through the front door unchecked. Here is what is actually happening. Point 1. Volume poisoning of information channels. Google Vids lets any Workspace user generate polished explainer videos with AI narration in minutes. The output quality is now indistinguishable from a mid-tier YouTube creator's work at first glance. This is not about one deepfake going viral. This is about millions of synthetic videos entering search indexes, recommendation feeds, and training corpora simultaneously. When you run a search query and half the top results are AI-generated summaries of AI-generated articles narrated by AI-generated voices over AI-generated footage. You do not have an information ecosystem anymore. You have a hall of mirrors. The technical term is data contamination at the retrieval layer, and it is already measurable. Researchers at Stanford flagged in late May 2025 that synthetic content in web-scraped training sets has crossed 15% in certain domains. That number compounds every quarter. Point 2. Latency collapse in content production. Runway Gen 4 can produce consistent characters across scenes with coherent motion and lighting. The inference cost per minute of generated video has dropped roughly 80% in 18 months. This means a single operator with API access and a $100 budget can generate more video content in a day than a 10-person production studio could make in a month. The economics are not slightly better. They are orders of magnitude better. The consequence is not theoretical. Marketing agencies are already replacing freelance videographers with Gen 4 pipelines. Internal corporate training departments are generating entire libraries of synthetic instructor-led courses. None of this content is watermarked because these tools do not enforce it in enterprise tiers. Point 3. The fine-tuning feedback loop. Here is the part nobody talks about. As synthetic video floods platforms, recommendation algorithms trained on engagement metrics cannot distinguish authentic content from synthetic content. They optimize for watch time and click-through rate regardless of origin. Synthetic content is engineered for exactly those metrics. So the algorithm preferentially surfaces it. Users engage with it. The platform collects that engagement data. And the next round of model fine-tuning bakes synthetic content preferences deeper into the weights. You end up with a recommendation system that is optimized to serve you content that was never real in the first place. If you see what is happening and you want someone saying it out loud every week, subscribe. The people profiting from this silence are counting on you tuning out. Now, the obvious counterargument. Someone will say these tools democratize creation. They give small businesses and solo creators access to production quality they could never afford. And that is true. I am not going to pretend the technology is not genuinely useful. But democratizing creation without democratizing verification is not empowerment. It is chaos with a marketing budget. C2PA provenance standards exist, but adoption is voluntary and fragmented. Detection models are always one generation behind the generators. The asymmetry is structural, and it favors the flood, not the filter. So here is where we land. The deepfake face swap panic is a rounding error compared to the systemic contamination of information channels by synthetic media at industrial scale. Every major AI lab is accelerating this. Their regulatory strategy, in my analysis, appears to be keeping the spotlight on the narrow, solvable problem while the unsolvable one metastasizes. Google, OpenAI, and Runway are not villains in some cartoon sense. They are companies following incentives. But those incentives are pointed directly at a world where you cannot trust whether the information you consume was ever connected to reality. And nobody with the power to slow it down has any financial reason to try. So tell me, when synthetic content is the majority of what you see online and you cannot reliably tell the difference, is that still a tool for creators, or is it the end of shared reality?